nominate Honorable Tajuddin Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The failure to involve persons with disability in the poverty alleviation programs.
House makes case for people with disabilities.
A good number of travelers have had causes to sleep at the airport due to controllable delays.
And lawmakers worry over alleged mismanagement in the aviation sector, say problem must be tackled. Many thanks for tuning into House Tickets as we bring you details of legislative activities from the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Dihelia Mamza. The week in review saw lawmakers considering bills, motions, as well as several matters of urgent public importance, reports of which are part of our program. We'll also bring you a report of a courtesy visit by a delegation from China to seek the support of the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, as well as the House of Representatives, towards deepening collaborative ties between the two countries. Please stay tuned for the full stories and more on the program after this short break.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Thanks for staying tuned. The program starts with a review of motions amongst other activities during last week's plenary. Highlights include a motion on armed robbery attacks in Benue, recognition of persons with disabilities in government programs, the living conditions of men and officers of the Nigerian Police Force, amongst others. Details of these stories and more from our studios. Keep watching.
Things that would promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria.
On Tuesday, 24th October 2023, Representative Blessing Onu moved a motion on the need to investigate the recent armed robbery attacks and killings of innocent Nigerians in a community in her constituency of Otupo Ohimini in Benue State.
Residents are currently feeling traumatized by last Friday's incident and are greatly feeling unsafe, worried that the security architecture of Otupo community, particularly the police and vigilante, are badly demoralized. More worrisome, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, is that the commercial and business activities are currently halted in Otupo and Benue South as a whole. Banks and other commercial institutions have completely shut down operations.
The lawmaker called on the House to condemn the criminal acts while further calling on the relevant security apparatus to apprehend the perpetrators of the devious act. Representative Onu also called on the federal government to provide additional security apparatus to the community, urging the House to ensure compliance to the prayers of the motion so that such barbaric acts do not reoccur.
This community.
Several lawmakers contributed to the motion.
That security activity in the country has become a cash cow business. A cash cow business is the sense that some people are living fat, feeding fat as far as the security is concerned. There is a need for these members of the parliament, particularly security-related committee, to look into the way and manner expenditures are made in security-related agencies and ministries. There is a need for us to do our oversight function properly so that we understand that taxpayers' money is being used for the purpose intended.
Our security, the local vigilante,
our security, the Nigerian Police Force, should be empowered, and more so intelligent network as far as communication is concerned, so that as the first attack happened, they can easily communicate to reinforce. Because it has happened this year in my very local government, Ankpa local government. It has happened last year in Omala local government. And most of those banks up to today cannot come back to function because of the heavy attacks.
And the manner in which this unknown gunmen left this community called Otukpo, if you watch the video, Mr. Speaker, right honorable colleagues, you will agree with me that if we fail to say that the security apparatus of this country has not failed, then we are not doing justice to what has happened.
A minute's silence was observed to honor the deceased, after which the motion was voted on, adopted and referred to the House Committee on National Security, Police, as well as that on Army.
I rise today to raise...
On Thursday, 26th of October 2023, Representative Bashiru Daudu moved a motion on the urgent need for specific recognition of persons with disabilities in poverty alleviation programs of the government.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation's recently launched Renew Hope conditional cash transfer was without set-asides for persons with disability, and this violated the Disability Act of 2018. This program involves the transfer of 1 trillion naira at 25,000 naira to 15 million households. Also disturbed that most poverty alleviation programs carried out by many states' governments excluded persons with disabilities. Further disturbed that the failure to involve persons with disability in the poverty alleviation programs leads to persistent poverty and further widening the socio-economic inequality of Nigeria.
Representative Bashiru, through his motion, called on the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs as well as all state governments to include people with disabilities in all such intervention programs nationwide.
Those in support of this motion say aye.
The motion was adopted.
A motion of urgent public importance on...
Still on the same day, Representative Murphy Osaro moved a motion on the deplorable living conditions of officers and men of the Nigerian police.
Police officers and their families live in squalor quarters characterized by large cracks on the walls, bat-infested houses, leaking roofs, dilapidated structure for barracks across the country. The House worried that our police officers have been tagged as corrupt, and this is not far-fetched from the lack of welfare services for them. Also disturbed that the deplorable living condition of the police officers has dampened their morale and productivity.
In his prayers, the lawmaker called on the Ministry of Interior as well as that on police affairs to liaise with relevant agencies to sell off these barracks and ensure the officers have better living conditions, and that the House Committee on Appropriations should ensure the redeployment of funds for the construction of befitting housing for police officers.
Those in support of this motion say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted as amended, and referred to the House Committee on Police Affairs as well as that on Intergovernmental Affairs.
Speaker, my motion.
Moving on, the House on Wednesday, 25th October 2023, treated a motion on notice. It was on the need to address the delay, cancellations and ill treatment meted out to passengers by airlines in the Nigerian aviation industry. The motion was moved by Representative Kelechi Nwogu.
A good number of travelers have had causes to sleep at the airport due to controllable delays or cancellations of movement by the operators. Mr. Speaker, we're also aware that travelers are legally entitled to a full refund, which includes monies paid for the ticket, taxes, baggage fees, and extra and ancillary charges earned in the course of this journey. The traveler's rights should be protected by law, regulations, and government institutions such as the Federal Competition and Consumers Commission.
Investigate the alleged...
Some lawmakers gave their contributions.
Is the attitude of our officials at the airport, and most of
the enforcement of the regulations that are available in order to protect passengers. So it's not for them to develop these things, it's to call the officials or the managers of these facilities to enforce the regulations and to be more disciplined and be more circumspect in dealing with passengers.
The House should mandate the Committee on Aviation to investigate the alleged ill treatment meted out to passengers by airlines in the Nigerian aviation industry, rather than urge the aviation minister or others to, on an advisory note, to comply with their extant regulations since they have it. This should be investigated, and the House need to know why this is happening.
In support of this motion as amended, should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted as amended, and referred to the House Committee on Aviation, as well as that on legislative compliance. Other resolutions include that the House condemns in strong terms the flagrant delays, cancellations, and ill treatment meted out to passengers by the airlines in the Nigerian aviation industry. Urged the Minister of Aviation and Chief Executive Officers of the Federal Airports Authority, the Federal Competition and Consumers Commission, and various heads of operators associations and groups in the sector to develop policies and regulations to protect and preserve the rights of travelers in Nigeria and ensure stringent implementation.
Do solemnly swear that I will be faithful.
Meanwhile, the House has administered the Oath of Allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Oath of Office of members of the House of Representatives on 2 members-elect, namely Representative Jafar Abubakar Magaji of the All Progressives Congress APC, representing Mubi South, North, and Maiha Federal Constituency of Adamawa State, as well as Representative Abubakar Babazongo, still from Adamawa State under the platform of the APC, representing Yola North, Yola South, Gire Federal Constituency.
So help me God.
We will do our best to amend the laws.
Proper bills that will move our country forward.
This country needs to come together.
Nigeria will expect a very resolute House of Assembly.
Many thanks for staying tuned. And if you just joined us, the program is House Tickets, a weekly program that reviews the legislative activities of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. We just took a summary of some motions moved by lawmakers during plenary proceedings for the last 1 week. Still from plenary, the House considered and passed several bills that were presented at different stages. Our next report takes you through the bills that were presented, considered and passed in the last 1 week. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
On Tuesday, the 24th of October 2023, Representative Aliu Sani Madaki moved for the second reading of a bill for an act to make provisions for the retirement age for staff of the National Assembly Service and for related matters. Leading the debate, Representative Madaki stated that the bill seeks to make provision for a harmonized retirement age for staff of the National Assembly and make it independent.
The National Assembly is a specialized service which is intended to strengthen the legislative arm of government. Of the 3 arms of government, the National Assembly is the least developed, and this can be attributed to the dearth of qualified staff who were caught up by the service rule or retirement age. Considering the importance of the legislative service as specialized service, the passage of the bill into law will strengthen the legislature as an arm of government, as similar legislation are provided for all the arms of government in Nigeria.
I strongly believe that
the bill enjoyed the support of some lawmakers.
Most of the countries like United States, UK have 65 or more years as their retirement age. And we in this country, we also have to join the world in progressing.
I strongly believe that this bill, if passed, will boost the morale of National Assembly staff and to further support us as legislators in performing our duties effectively for the greater benefit of Nigerians and our beloved nation.
The bill was voted on and referred to the House Committee on Public Service Matters. Another bill that scaled second reading was titled, A Bill for an Act to Amend the Federal Polytechnics Act 2010 to establish Federal Institute of Technology and Entrepreneurship, Bungudu, Zamfara State, to provide for qualitative education in sciences, skills, arts, and other technical knowledge. Representative Abdul Malik Zubairu sponsored the bill.
This bill seeks to amend the first schedule of the Principal Act through insertion of paragraph Q with the following words: Federal Institution of Technology and Entrepreneurship, Bungudu, Zamfara State. I urge Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues to support this bill because it is paramount concerning the economic and the security situation of our country, as well as crime's need of the government to create ways through which our youth can create jobs and avoid or minimize joblessness.
The external agency.
The bill enjoyed the support of some lawmakers.
The sponsor of this bill is coming at the right time, and we should be able to encourage it to pass through this stage so that we'll be able to have polytechnics that will be able to train our students in skill and prepare them for the 21st century. Because gone are the days where white-collar jobs are meant for. Now is the ability to use what you have learned in school to be able to propagate.
Any area you have a specialized institution, the donor agency, the external agency would be very, very much interested in that. And therefore, when it comes to funding, I don't think there will be a problem there. In relation to employment, it will surely curb.
Take your seat, please.
It will surely reduce the issue of unemployment.
Say aye.
The bill was voted on, approved, and referred to the House Committee on Polytechnics and Higher Technical Education. Meanwhile, two bills passed third reading in the House. They are a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Medical Research Council and for related matters 2023, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act and establish Federal Polytechnic Rano, Kano State, and for related matters. 55 bills were presented at first reading in the House last week. They include Federal University of Health Sciences Azare Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Awalu Abdul Gwelabi, National Institute of Robbery Research and Technology Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Joseph Folorunsho Adegbeson, Debt Management Bureau Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Miriam Onoha, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Akarachi E.T. Amadi, National Institute for Criminology and Criminal Justice Research Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Julius Ihovere, and Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Gaza Jonathan Gbefui.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
You're still watching House Tickets, a weekly program coming to you on the parliamentary channel of the NTA. Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, has assured the Chinese People's Parliament of improved ties with parliaments of both countries, adding that the over 50 years of diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and China has produced many outcomes of mutual benefits for both countries. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, who recognized the significance of Chinese contributions to the socio-economic development of Nigeria, stated this while addressing the Chinese delegation led by the ambassador to Nigeria, His Excellency Chiu Jia-chun, who paid him a courtesy visit in his office on Tuesday, 25th October 2023.
Our diplomatic relationship has been around since 1971 or thereabout, that China and Nigeria established the diplomatic relationship. And as you've said, it has always been a good story, a rousy one. Not even once in those 50-something years that Nigeria and China ever had any friction in between them is something commendable. And we are equally happy that the diplomatic relationship that has been set up has translated into good things. Yeah. Today, China is probably, if not number one, maybe number two in terms of foreign investment into Nigeria and economic activities. I believe you have brought so much to Nigeria because of all these bilateral and multilateral cooperations we have been enjoying among ourselves. And I believe we can do much more to each other.
The Speaker thereafter introduced the chairman of the Nigeria-China Parliamentary Friendship Committee, Representative Jafaru Yakubu, urging the ambassador to felicitate further introductions between the chairman of the committee and his parliamentarians in China with a view to strengthening the relationship, even as he re-echoed the need for a robust parliamentary relationship between the House of Representatives and the Chinese People's Parliament.
We have done Niger-China.
Speaking earlier, the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Chu Jiancheng, briefed the Speaker on the Chinese Parliament's desire to strengthen ties with the Nigerian legislature, adding that more collaboration between both parliaments could only further cement the existing diplomatic ties between Nigeria and China. He expressed gratitude to the Speaker for his warm reception, conveying the willingness of the Chinese Parliament to work with its Nigerian counterparts for the purpose of deepening existing bilateral relationship.
We have learned from you and from the parliamentary mechanism or the operation system. So we do believe that we could have a lot of things to discuss in the future. And I do hope that it's worthy of doing things to allow leaders of two countries to have the face-to-face talk next year. Third point, I also want to let you know, Your Excellency, the relationship between Nigeria and China. I can assure you, and also I want very happy to tell you that we are in the, we have raised the bar of the relation between the two countries. I want to let you know, in the past 50 years, the two countries have no fundamental problem. We support each other, we work together. So I'm the 14th Chinese ambassador to Nigeria. 2 years and 6 months for me staying in Nigeria. I really learned a lot. I enjoy my life to be here.
He listed key areas of national development which China has actively participated in Nigeria in the last 6 years, to include road and hydroelectric power infrastructure, rail transportation, technology and security, adding that China could also learn a lot from Nigeria through its legislature and cultural collaboration. He invited and urged Speaker Abbas Tajuddin to visit the Chinese Parliament next year to establish more ties. Some lawmakers were also present at the Speaker's office to receive the delegation from China. At the end, the delegation presented souvenirs to the Speaker, after which they took some group photograph with Speaker Abbas Tajuddin.
Thank you.
It's been an educative half-hour spent. Hayes hoping you've been informed on the workings of the legislative arm of government. For more stories from the House of Representatives, do join us again on the parliamentary channel of the NTA. Until I come your way again, it's bye for now.